All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday, June 18th, 2024 Town of Monroe Planning Board regular meeting. Noreen, would you please do the roll call? Attendance?
Aye. Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
All right, with that, we have a quorum. I'd like to point out the fire exits. There are two in front of me to the rear of the audience. There's another one to my left, the main entrance, and then another that goes out onto the patio deck to our right. With that, could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag. All right, first item on the agenda is Owen Drive. If you'd come on up. 20 Owen Drive, good evening.
Hello, I'm Vince Peterzak, here tonight with Joel Mann for 20 Owen Drive. Since we were last here, we've made a submission which included traffic analysis by Phil Greeley. Also, our attorney had made a submission, and we addressed a lot of Sean's previous comments. I see we have some new ones here, which we haven't had a chance to look at yet. I don't know if the board has any questions with the plans that were submitted.
I'll start with our engineer, Sean. Do you have any new comments?
So, last time I had raised some questions with regards to the bulk table. It looks like some net lot area calculations have been updated, except the proposed right-of-way and the right-of-way are still outstanding for the net lot area calculation, and then proposed grading, some of the steep slopes that are being proposed have to be also calculated net lot area calculation. If you recall, the roadway from Smith Farms is going to connect to the existing Owen Drive at the Village Monroe boundary. The portion of the right, or I guess the whole portion of the road will be privately owned and maintained, but they're going to move the fire access gate from the northeastern end of the property to the eastern end of the property. That still remains. My question for the applicant is, where is the snow storage going to be? Because I want to make it clear on the plat, can't be in front of the gate.
So basically, we did, as a recommendation at one of the meetings, we did a wider driveway, and we can widen it more, so we can put the snow storage at that area on lot 1. The wider driveway was the wider driveway was actually for turnaround, so snow storage.
I think there's room, but I think
There's
there might
room.
need to be some grading or clearing in order to accommodate it.
Okay, we'll address that.
So the proposed roadway is going to change the grade, and there's an existing village water main that serves farms. So I think this application should be referred to the Village of Monroe on the grading above their water main.
Is there water main over here? This is sanitary,
That's a sewer main for Smith Farm.
Okay.
It runs within the proposed private roadway.
this is sanitary.
Direction.
You can see
Oh,
the
over here
water
is-
on sheet 4.
Sheet 4,
Yeah, it's probably the easiest.
this one? And where are you looking at? Is it in
It's
the road?
kind of on the top side of
Oh,
the,
I think I see, right here.
right. The concern being to make sure that there's adequate cover on the water when finished.
Where is the village versus the town boundary again?
That's another comment, but it's actually down page. It's not specifically shown on the plan.
It's down this way?
In the previous submissions, we had a separate sheet for that, but I think we can clarify it on the,
It's just he's like distant from it, so sometimes it comes on and off.
No, he's turning it on and off.
Is he? Oh. I don't think it's on. There.
Yeah, that's because I keep hitting the button.
So it doesn't stay on?
Yeah, along this.
It's not staying on? Oh.
Does it go down or it goes up like
Oh. So George, it's not staying on if he doesn't touch the button, if he doesn't depress it.
Yeah, it does. It goes around that.
yeah.
Okay, so the disturbance is greater than an acre, so a SWIP will have to be prepared in the, acknowledge the fact that one will have to be prepared, but one has not yet been prepared. The sewer connections are going to be to the existing main within Smith Farm. We'll need review and approval by Orange County DPW for those. The potable water supply has been switched main, the water main served by the village, to on-site wells. I understand Lot 2 is going to be served by an existing well. We'll need to note that location on the plans.
Doesn't show on the other.
Well, yeah, it's missing.
I had a question regarding the existing easement agreement, and if there was one, to the existing lots within the town on the private road portion of Owen Drive. You guys aware if if one exists?
I'm sorry, what was the question, Sean?
The lots town off of Owen Drive, the private portion, is there an existing driveway maintenance agreement?
For those existing lots?
I'm not aware.
I believe there is.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a maintenance agreement, but I know there's access agreements.
So my suggestion would be that we try to get those other homeowners on a maintenance agreement. It's almost an impossible task, but at least the homeowner should be approached, would be willing to sign one.
Well, the HOA is going to be maintaining everything. The Smith
Only
Farm-
the portion serving the lot, these proposed lots,
Correct.
not the portion of the road that will serve those existing lots.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Are we gonna have a double road? Like a fork?
Yes.
It's a driveway coming off.
So there's a
But-
road that's coming up this way to serve those houses, right?
Correct.
And then you're going straight.
Correct. But there will be no vehicular access between Smith Farm and Owen Drive because the gate will remain to force these three lots to go out through Smith Farm and prevent us from accessing Smith Farm through the back of Owen Drive.
And I was just thinking of layout altogether?
So the roadway is going to be more or less in a cut, so a retaining wall is proposed on the northwest side of the road that will be in excess of 4 feet in height. So that will require building permit. Question is, I don't think there was enough detail on the retaining wall detail as to whether or not there will be tiebacks necessary of the retaining wall, which would potentially require grading easements on the adjoining lot.
So where I was as far as thoughts is, and just in general, we have in our code that we want more terrain adaptive development. We don't want a lot of slope disturbance. We don't want a lot of tree disturbance. I'm not seeing that here. I'm seeing retaining walls, a lot of grading, so I don't know that it's meeting the intent of the code. So I don't know how to address it, but, you know, to me, there's got to be something that's a little bit lighter on the land in terms of a layout. You know, adding like a whole new road for 3 houses, even if it is HOA.
So the roadway was approved as a temporary a gravel access drive, so that the location of the roadway is in the same location, although there will be some accommodate the 3 new driveways of the roadway.
That was for Smith Farm.
Correct. But correct. It would be for emergencies only, but in general, the roadway is in the same location.
Yeah, my point to all this is Smith Farm is not terrain adaptive. There's massive retaining walls. It was basically denuded. I don't want to see that again. So what I want to especially see on this is what's being left in its natural state. Is there going to be some trees, you know, along the hillside? That's what I want to see. Is there a way to design the home so it's stepping down and not having to do as much grading? Because, I mean, and I know a part of Smith Farm was agricultural. I think it was farm field, you know, a portion of it. When you get up to the top, I mean, it just feels like more and more is being graded. And, you know, that's not necessarily consistent with our intent. So, but anyway, go. Why don't you continue on?
Yeah, sorry. So I just had one more highlight. Since the project has switched from main connection to wells, subdivision regulations require that the applicant do testing. Since it's less than 5 lots, 1 well test. That'll be required.
Why did it go from connecting to the water main to wells? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but I defer to the applicant as
We're
to
not in the
why.
water district,
You're not in the water district?
Correct.
Is that a village water district or
Yes.
town water district?
village.
But there is a town
Isn't there a town agreement?
district, right, behind, kind of in the background of, in order to collect unpaid water fees. I believe there was a Smith Farm established water
Smith Farm
district.
maybe
Yeah, Smith
was.
Farm,
Right.
but not this property.
The Smith Farm property is in.
Correct.
Correct.
So, one of the things I'd like to know is whether if you connected to the water, would there be less disturbance? Would that help with, I'm just trying to figure anything,
No,
and you're on sewer? You're on public sewer?
yes,
Okay, so it's only the wells,
correct.
okay,
And the wells are going to be where the areas next to the houses, where
Yeah,
the areas
well,
get
on a flat
disturbed
area.
anyway.
okay.
Just if you want to give you a little bit of a history on the design of the slots, when we started initially,
I can't hear you so well, if you could.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
When we started the first concepts, we had giant retaining walls in the back, and basically the house, the first floor was more flat with the road on top. So in order to reduce the grading and change that, and to keep as much possible from the back of the properties basically for the visual impact of to leave some original vegetation, we are sloping down the driveway, so we are working with the grade to bring down the house as the lowest possible that we can. So we working with the grade. We try the best. We can maybe adjust it a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Well,
But-
we'll talk about it when we get to the board's comments. We'll look at it some more,
Okay.
and bring up that grading plan in particular. Ashley, comments?
At one of the last meetings, we had requested the updated owner's endorsement. This It is a major subdivision because it proposes the tree survey's been provided, noting trees to be removed, but they're
All right, George, just so you know, Ashley turns it on. It's on for about 5 seconds, and then it... Oh, okay. You can see it down there, right?
So Ashley, just make sure all the lights are on the base.
There's a light that says 2. There's like a 1 and 2 on the right side. Oh, just touch it. Okay, let's see if that works.
Sean, do you have that? Is there any other? No.
It is a major subdivision because it involves a new road. The tree survey needs to show the proposed trees to be replacing the ones that are going to be removed. The dwellings are labeled as 3,000 plus or minus square feet, so the square footage does need to be exact, as it'll be relevant for the house relocation notes, which define the maximum building footprint. As far as seeker goes for this application, at the last time we did discuss that we would need to look at the traffic, since the three homes are going to be connecting to Smith Farms, to show that the traffic is consistent with the Smith Farm seeker analysis. So, and I did receive the applicant's attorney's letter, and I think there might have been some misunderstanding, because we weren't suggesting that a supplemental EIS be necessary, but that there be a consistency analysis to show that adding these 3 homes won't increase the traffic significantly. So I think there might need to be a supplemental lead agency notice sent to the Village of Monroe if they now have any approval authority over the road connection to the existing village. I'm not sure what, if any, permitting authority the village would have, but the board can send a supplemental lead agency notice to the village. There are some standard stormwater notes that you'll have to add per section 4617. And it sounds like the applicant's looking to amend the HOA declaration with Smith Farms to include the maintenance of this access road by the HOA. I think that was most of my comments, but the one thing I'd want to know from the board is whether it's necessary to send supplemental lead agency notice to the village, if there's any village approvals now required.
I would just add to keep in mind, if you're going to send the lead agency notice, that we have to send the plans to review the roadway grading. I would suggest we don't send the plans for the roadway grading until the drainage is, which to date the roadway has not been provided with any improvements shown within it.
All right. So I will start to my left. Lou, any comments?
No comments.
Okay. Jeff?
Nothing right now, thank you.
So I'm looking at this particular map, and I'm guessing that the gray area was supposed to be the slopes in excess of 30%.
Yes.
The way that it's showing up the topo lines, I mean, it's not, it doesn't, So you can see how these topo lines are going in here, but then you see all the gray. So you actually don't see the topo lines continue through to see that it's 30%. Is there a way to have the gray as an overlay and still see the topo lines?
Yeah, I could shade that
Yeah.
lighter, so it's not as dark.
Yeah, because it's hard to tell whether it's encompassing all the 30%.
No
The-
problem.
So if you could just add that.
Yep.
And so in looking at this, we have, so, and maybe you've addressed this already, Ashley, but this is a split zone. Is there any issue at all in terms of setbacks, in terms of anything with the split zoning that would necessitate it getting some kind of zoning adjustment?
I can't recall if it was that we had checked with the building inspector for another one that was split zoned, and because the improvements were all within the one zone, it was determined that's what would apply, but we can certainly confirm that.
Yeah, do you recall? I don't remember. I'm just trying to see if there's any issue with the split zoning.
None that we're aware of.
I don't know if there were. I don't know if this was referred to the building inspector or not.
We use this more stricter zone, so.
You use the SR.
Oh, no, you're right. Okay, it's SR20, so.
Yeah, so between URM and SR20. So I'm looking at the limits of disturbance, and I see this lower lot area is, this is the area that you're proposing, I guess, not to disturb. But what I don't see is how this relates to the wooded areas. Yeah, does the last sheet still, does it show the limits of disturbance? Because I saw the trees. Okay. All right. So this is not being disturbed in here, and these little pockets. So I don't know if there's some way, because there's all that grading to get the driveway in here, right? Was there a minimum required for the width of that road that's part of Smith Farm? It has to be 24?
24 feet within Smith Farm, curb to curb.
So on this segment, it has to be 24? Was that established by the town? Was that established by the town?
I'd have to look back, I don't recall. And that was, the 24 feet is the improved surface foot right-of-way
Okay.
proposed.
Is this the property boundary here?
Yes.
No, this is not
I know, just again, looking at the trees, trying to figure out what potentially could be preserved. Dennis, is this the one you went to look at, or there's a different one? You haven't seen this one? Okay. So I would like us to refer since you have the tree plan now, we'll refer to the MCC to take a look at. And in particular, what the trees are that are, where the diameters are all in here, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And are you going to be proposing to add trees?
You have a landscaping?
I don't think we did, did we?
I'm just thinking you might want, if that's going to be, I imagine it would be something that's going to be submitted, that the MCC will want to see that as well.
We didn't do one yet, and if you have some input on that, we will certainly include that in our plan.
Well, with regard to these houses, they're shown as boxes. Is that an actual footprint? Is that going to be the house style, or that's just?
I have a concept and a conceptual plan of that.
Can you send that to us, what
Sure.
you're thinking?
Yes.
And particularly how it relates to, again, terrain adaptive, whether it's stepping down, what it looks like. Okay?
Okay.
And is there a garage, or no? It's on the parking is on the exterior?
There is a garage, yes.
Okay, so there'll be
Yes.
parking,
Yes.
okay.
You can see the
The garage, I see the
garage, the connection to
817.
the connection to the garage and the garage elevation, right.
Okay. Their basement,
Not under the portion of the garage, no.
okay. So then you're going to have a walkout basement, a first floor, and a second floor.
Correct.
So you'll be 807 to 828 to the second floor. Yeah, I'd like to, can you just do like,
Height calculation?
yeah, high
Sure.
calculation, please?
Yep.
Then I'd like, is there a detail of the retaining wall with the top and bottom somewhere? Was that on the plans?
The elevations are shown on the grading plan. There is a detail for the retaining wall construction.
What's the diversion swell for? Is there,
I believe that's a temporary diversion swale for erosion and sediment control.
Just during construction.
construction? Up or, up?
Along the northwestern boundary should be the retaining wall.
Ability, or after? Before this one? So this one. Oh, there we go. So where's the diversion? Top and bottom of the wall?
This one.
So the W is the water line.
So the diversion swale is going to be between the water line and
Wall?
the wall, yes.
So but that's temporary? Is it gonna go away, or it's gonna remain a
Correct.
ditch?
That'll be temporary just during construction.
And then what goes there afterwards?
Then it'll just be a grassed area.
Grass?
Yes.
And there's no way to get rid of that retaining wall?
Not unless we grade on somebody else's property.
Can't come forward?
Move
Is that, I mean, I don't know if it helps. If you come
Oh, move-
closer,
Move the road down. like-
if you moved it farther down the hill, is there anything to gain, or no, it's still cutting into the slope?
We need to start with the connection to Smith Farm. After that,
Okay, it's because of the Smith Farm connection.
correct.
If we push that further south, though, we'd end up carrying that grading further down to the back of the lots also.
Right, it drops, whatever, it's a domino effect.
I mean, we could put a couple of more retaining walls behind the houses on lots 2 and 3 to help eliminate some more grading, if you prefer.
None at this point.
I have one additional thing. I know I had mentioned it's a major subdivision because of the new road, so that does require compliance with the cluster provisions unless, which the board has the authority to waive the cluster requirements. it's a subdivision that's fewer than 5 acres. I don't know if that's something you're prepared to discuss tonight, or,
I don't think so. I think we just want to go out to the site, take a look. I don't know that we're really going to be able to cluster, because these aren't big lots. But I think before we make that, it'd just be useful to go out into the site and check it out. Yes.
If I could just offer one suggestion to try to the disturbance, if you move the sewer laterals up into your proposed fill, cut a little bit of the disturbance back, tree clearing.
It will need to be ductile iron, but still doable. The Orange County is requiring it when it's filled to be ductile iron. But need to be ductile iron when it's in fill, but it's cost, but it's doable. If that helps, it's doable.
You're going to have a wall in here, right? A 10-foot wall, 12-foot.
Where at the bottom?
On lot 2.
Yes, correct.
Are there any other walls on the lots themselves? Was that the only one? Is this a wall over here?
Other wall between
So-
Smith Farm.
Yep.
So that's 4, 5, like 5 to 4 foot. And is this the sanitary?
Yes, correct.
So you were talking about,
Pulling those into the slope to try to reduce the disturbance beyond where's being filled.
houses, it's lot. But we'll go out, we'll take a look. And you have to have that, you have to have this,
It's a sediment trap. That's a temporary trap for erosion and sediment control.
and so I guess this is part of it. If these things are temporary and they go away, is there a way to put them in places so that we're not introducing more disturbance just to put them in? You know what I'm saying?
And I'm trying to figure out how to do that on this plan.
In other words, some of the disturbance comes from all the stormwater temporary. So what is in that area? Are there trees there or not?
There is,
Yeah, so we have this cluster of trees in here, right?
okay, I see where you're talking.
Yeah, we're
I
getting rid
wasn't
of them
clear.
so we can put something in that's temporary. So there's
Basically
got to
what
be a
you're
better
saying
way.
is If you go to the erosion control map. I got the point. I think we
You
can
know what,
find.
like some other alternatives, there must be other alternatives to minimize the amount of, but if you know, because it's 2.3, now you're just getting into
find
more,
more,
as opposed if there was
a
less
this
grading,
temporary area
you may
should
not
be
need
like
half
here,
of these,
where we-
I don't
where
know,
we
you might
disturb.
need some of, you might not need some of the measures,
This is a sediment trap.
so.
Yeah, but you want it at the lowest point of construction.
Oh,
So, yeah, I think it'd be good to go out there, and I think we should coordinate with the Monroe Conservation Commission. So, Noreen, if you would please send a set of plans to Dennis. CC me on the email, please. And then that's done, perhaps we can coordinate with you.
Okay.
I don't think has anybody been up there yet?
I've been out over there, not, prior to this application, actually. I was in that area of the town.
Okay. Was this house involved with, there was some accidental grading that happened somewhere? Is that this lot or no?
I think it was on an adjacent property, so
property?
it was
Okay.
not this one.
Okay. All right,
As far as the supplemental lead agency notice, is that something,
yeah. Well, so to Sean's point, though, should it go now? Wasn't that part of the question?
perspective, the lead agency notice can go now, but the referral for the review of the water main should wait until we have.
Okay, okay, which might be a little subject to change. Okay,
I would ask that the applicant send a revised EAF, though, before I make that supplemental lead agent. Particularly the water, it's identified as public water on the EAF, so to say that it's going well water and any other changes that have been made. The board wanted to approve a motion to send a supplemental lead agency notice to the village.
I'll make a motion that we submit a supplemental lead agency notice to the village. May I suggest both the village board and the planning board? I don't know who we normally.
They both might potentially be involved,
Well,
or the DPW?
yeah, I don't know, and, we send it to one group, and then the other group, has concerns that we're not even aware of. Maybe if it just goes to the village clerk, and then the village clerk,
We'll have to identify who's the involved agency.
yeah. You
And
know
they
what?
they were identified as interested.
Maybe. Elise Terhune, and she might be able to direct which boards it can go to.
We have no issue with sending it to everybody.
Okay, so I'll make that motion, subject to, we need the revised EAF, correct? As part of that? Okay. May I have a second?
Second.
Call the question?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Penn,
Aye.
Bob Garstack.
Aye.
All right, with that, the motion carries, so we'll do that, circulation, and then we'll coordinate with MCC, and then we'll talk to you about a date to get out there.
Great, thank
Okay.
you. Ashley, do you have written comments, or can you email us your comments?
Yes, I could email you.
Great, thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that it's getting nice, we shouldn't have any issue with rain. Okay, we'll let you know. Thanks. Is there a time period that you're not around? Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is 24 Raywood. Is that yours? Dennis, remind me again, which one did you visit? Or you had the comments on? 24 Raywood? For 24? Okay. Thank you. Sure. Got it. Very fancy cars, some of these. It looks like there's a Porsche, a couple of Porsches in the driveway. No vans, a bicycle. How are you?
Good evening. Heinrich Feiwager, one of the owners of 24 Raywood. And I'm here tonight to go over the comments and make sure we can move forward, hopefully to get the final vote tonight.
So we'll start with Sean. You have any engineering comments?
Just a couple. Just kind of want to memorialize, we did receive the letter regarding the septic systems proposed that's required by the zoning for the two-family overlap. take no exception to the letter or the design for the septic system. We've also received the regards to the existing well and the testing that was completed for it, which we take no exception to. If you recall, I had a couple comments on the horseshoe driveway spots with the I just asked that the the rim elevation of the proposed, or of the manhole, to see if that has to go up or down in order to accommodate the driveway, relatively minor in nature. One technical comment on the pavement section with curb detail to make sure that that matches the town code requirement for the work within the roadway.
Oh, let me just,
And then one more thing, I had a comment with regards to the elevation rendering that was proposed, thanks. Didn't match the site plan with regards to landscaping or the I believe that's what the applicant provided this evening.
Correct.
However, colors of the dwelling don't match what was previously submitted. The landscaping, there's a couple landscaping trees proposed in the front that aren't on the so I just asked that I'm sorry.
So we actually did update the site plan rate, and we tried to match the site plan with the rendering, should be the exact same trees and everything.
With which renderings? The one submitted tonight?
Yes,
Or?
yes, tonight. I didn't have a chance because it was like, I have to give it out to a company to do that, so it took some time, but I finally got it tonight, so didn't have a chance to email it before.
Okay, so we'll just have to make sure that the rendering matches the site plan, but my concern is with the colors and kind of some of the architectural features, the architectural elevations that were previously submitted. And then the only other thing was that we were waiting on MCC comments for the proposed tree plans, if they have.
Ashley, any comments?
I do, but I think I've incorporated them into the resolution when I have the draft resolution. Comments or questions, I could raise them as we go through that.
And then, Dennis, you want to come up regarding the MCC report?
Is it on? It is on. Yeah, okay. Yes, I did submit our plans. I was just given a copy of the revised plans only a few minutes ago, so some of the details have changed. I understand these comments haven't yet gone to the applicant. No.
Did you receive?
I didn't receive it yet.
No. Okay, no, but so I will forward. I can forward them to
Okay.
if you wish. Some of the comments which I think have been addressed, we were concerned that some of the trees were shown too close. New trees were close to existing trees. I think that has been remedied. Another comment we had, we would normally recommend more than one species. Well, that has now been addressed. Correct under the legend for new trees should be proposed white pine. That has all been changed in any case now. Some of the planting details we had some comments on about the types of wraps and supports for the new trees. I don't think they've been changed. They may want to look at some of those. And the other one, which was a minimal comment, that the sheet title is existing tree plan. the tree plan now shows the new trees as well, so it should maybe just be the tree plan. So some minor point. That was it, but I will look at the new plans that I just received and make some further comments.
So I think we're going to take action tonight,
Yeah,
but we could maybe make it subject to
yeah.
final review.
I think I'm pretty certain that most of their comments will be addressed. I think they should just look at some of the details. It's minor stuff as to how you put in new trees and how they're supported and the types of straps you use and all that sort of stuff. And some of
Karen
that's-
reviewed it, so she did all that changes, almost the same changes. So
Oh, so
I- yeah, she
Karen-
approved it. Yeah, she
Okay.
approved it. We have
Yeah,
approval
yeah.
letter from her. So.
and so I will send you my comments and
Of course.
they're minimal. So yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, thank you. So with that, board members, any comments or questions on this particular application? I do not. Going to bring up a resolution.
Can we just discuss the differences in tonight's rendering as far as color and some minor things in the design, both compared to the old rendering and the elevations?
Sure.
I myself actually prefer the design of the new rendering. So
From which perspective?
well,
You're talking about the colors?
the colors, there's awnings over the windows in places on the old rendering, where now the awnings really just exist over the doors and, well, in the home that's set a little further back, that wraps around over a couple of the windows.
They should be on this rendering as well. Might be sometimes the coloring of the printer might be that the shade is a little bit
May
different.
just be as,
But Snow White is the one that we will use, and that's
what you're looking to use.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is, if I can maybe just,
Yeah.
so this is the one,
First one.
this is the other.
Right.
So you can see how one is very white.
It's a different company that did it for me. But I gave them Snow White, and that's what I asked.
But do you know if it's going to be this or this?
This is the one. It will be follow Snow White. So Snow White is whatever the color Snow White is.
Because this looks a little gray to my eye. So,
Right.
so if you're talking about Snow White, like as white as snow, that's not this.
It will be that one then. It is Snow White. I think Snow White is the one that we put on the plan, and that's what I asked the designer to put on the
As a
rendering.
note. So this one talks about there's board and batten,
In the center by the windows, the board and batten.
cinder block, roofing shingles, natural wood composite. Here it says color snow.
Right.
It's not Snow White. Maybe it's snow when it's been a little driven and now it's gray.
Maybe snow is the. I mean, that's what. Maybe it's a different color. I thought Snow White is the same as snow. Maybe that's the confusion between those two. But I think Snow White is the one that I checked on the shingle, the store that sells them, and that's the one that it should be, I think.
So maybe we'll just, as a condition, just memorialize like a paint chip or something to know exactly what we're approving.
What's the company name? Do you know? We could pull it up now.
That's true.
Right, I do have that. 1 second.
Like a Benjamin Moore or a
Let's see.
Home Depot?
No. 1 second. I'll find it in a second for you. 1 second. Encore maybe is the company. Encore. Encore.
Ncore.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Huh? I don't know. It's oh, no, 1 second. The website. I have actually the actual website address. So
So there's Encore Plastics Paint at Lowe's. Encore Reed Snowdrift. I don't think
There's
that's it.
Encore siding.
Encore Siding. Oh, is it Certainteed?
I have. Yeah. That's right. That's the website.
Okay, so it's a Certainteed. Okay, so that helps. So Certainteed. Encore Snow.
So it's snow. The color is snow then.
That's it.
Right.
All right, so it's going to be very white. Darker. That's almost what yours look like. That's that other rendering.
That's a different color. That's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going for the snow, I think. Yeah, I mean, not a thing. That's not the color that's on the plan.
So if that's the color, I think it definitely looks starker on the white, but I also don't think it's the gray. But I can see how that might be a little closer to the gray, perhaps, than the stark white of that other image.
Sure, I can turn now.
Ooh, excuse me. Again, that's the, frankly, oh no, that's colonial. Okay. Good. So I am going to bring up the resolution. There were some edits.
So just for my awareness, I think might have been absent.
I could send you something quick now. I just added something about the elevations and the siding color.
Okay.
So while you're waiting on that, this is a single two-family with special use permit for accessory dwelling in each of the single family, or
No, it's just a
two-family?
two-family.
Special use permit for the two-family within the two-family overlay zone.
So the
Okay.
special use permit is to do a two-family.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you sign it? Or not yet? Here's my picture of Aurora while we're. Isn't that pretty? That was up at West Point.
Where'd you take that with?
That was at West Point.
That was at 1 a.m. in the morning.
With your phone?
Yeah, with my phone.
Northern Lights at West Point.
That was when we had the big, yeah, what do you call it?
The green
Solar,
light.
solar flare. Yep. It didn't look like that, but then you snap the picture, and that's what it looked like. Yeah. Isn't it? The camera was sensitive to picking it up.
That's from.
That's that road as you come up to the top of 6th and you go back. So you're not continuing on 6th, instead you go toward like, yeah, I forget the name of the road.
293.
Yeah, 293. All right, here we go. Diversion. This is a resolution of approval for site plan and special use permit for 24 Raywood, is it Raywood okay, Raywood LLC, not Raywood Drive. So 24 Raywood LLC is apply for approval of a site plan and issuance of a special use permit permitting the use of the property identified herein as a two-family detached dwelling, as regulated by section 5713U of the Town of Monroe zoning chapter. Applicant proposes to remove an existing dwelling and shed and portion of an existing driveway and construct a new 8,839 square foot two-family dwelling and associated improvements. Is that the footprint?
Correct.
The only problem is the site plan has a slightly different square footage, so we just ask that you,
Should be updated.
or I would assume that the architectural is correct and the site plan is incorrect.
Right. Should be like that.
And I have included a condition that requires that be updated on the
Okay.
plan.
Square foot, okay, so it's square foot footprint, right? The whole thing isn't 8,839
Together.
square feet, it's the footprint is that.
The footprint should be 8,839. The total is 9,650 in both. In both.
What's the total square footage of your house, of the whole two-family?
I think mine, it's about 9,000 should be everything together.
The entire,
Entire,
all
both
the
si- yep, mhm.
floors? Okay, so it's not footprint then?
It's mostly one story, no?
It's one story, right?
Right.
Okay,
There's only a
that's why it
small
matches.
There's only a small portion of the basement that's finished, that's included in the total square footage.
Okay, so when that condition comes, it'll just get straightened out in terms of what the, okay. Property involved, property affected is located at 24 Raywood Drive, which is tax parcel 43-3-3. This is in the SR10 Suburban Residential Zoning District and the two-family, or the two-family overlay district, 2FO. Then the resolution recites the various submissions that have been submitted to date. This application was filed February 28th, 2024. We held a public hearing on May 21st. This is a type 2 action because it involves a two-family residence on an approved lot. This was exempt from 239M county review. And then in accordance with 239NN of general municipal law, it was forwarded to Curious Joel and Town of Palm Tree. Findings, planning board has determined that approval of the site plan special permit will substantially serve the public convenience, safety, and welfare, not be detrimental to the neighborhood of the residents thereof, will not otherwise be detrimental to the public convenience or welfare, subject to compliance in full with the conditions that are attached. And then we make findings with regard to the objectives that are listed in A through N. Following specific findings regarding the two-family detached dwelling special use permit. Number 1 has to do with verification, soil testing, and review the wastewater disposal system. There's only one driveway shared by both dwelling units, and that there's a continuous circular driveway. As necessary to provide the driveway utility connections, there's no grading or removal of natural vegetation for the first 50% of the required front yard closest to the front lot line. And then new trees and landscaping will be required. In exercising our powers of architectural review, exterior design, arrangement, texture, materials proposed to be used are architecturally appropriate and visually compatible with existing buildings and the environment. And then, based on the present and anticipated future need for park and recreational facilities in the town, project presents a proper case for requiring a park or park suitably located for playgrounds, or other recreational purposes. Presents a proper case for requiring a park or parks suitably located for playgrounds or other recreational purposes. However, because suitable parks or recreation areas of adequate size to meet this requirement and cannot be properly located on the site plan, planning board finds the project requires a payment of fee of lieu of providing parkland to suit the town's needs for this development. Is there a condition to that effect also? Okay. Public improvements. There are no necessary public improvements. So then our specific conditions. Approval is subject to final engineering review of the plan sets. Plans shall not be signed until receipt of a letter from the planning board engineer certifying that all deficiencies noted in his memo of 18th of June 2024 have been remedied. Applicant shall revise the plans to incorporate the changes suggested in the MCC report and include the landscaping shown in the renderings to the satisfaction of the planning board's landscape consultant.
To clarify, that would be the renderings submitted this evening? So I'll add the 3D rendering June 18th.
And prior to the signing of the plan, site plan should be revised as follows. Update the proposed building information on sheet number 1 to match the square footage depicted on the floor plans to the satisfaction of the planning board engineer. Update the list of drawings on sheet number 1 to reflect the same titles as the plan sheets. Add the following map note on sheet number 1, wastewater disposal system certification. So that's a specific note. Add the following map notes on sheets numbers 1, 3, and 4. It's a tree preservation note. Revise sheet 4 as follows. Change title sheet 4 to existing and proposed tree plan. On legend, change proposed white spruce to proposed white pine. Applicant shall deliver payment of fee in lieu of parkland. Applicant shall comply with the New York State DEC tree removal restriction.
So actually, for just moving up to the revisions to sheet 4, I think we'll just change the title to existing and proposed tree plan, remove the second piece because I understand may have revised the type of tree, so.
Okay. And overall, we have a note in there that she'll check it for final review, right? Okay, so that you comply with DEC's tree removal restriction, which doesn't allow you to clear trees within a certain time period. Design of buildings, colors, materials, and architectural shall be as shown on elevations last revised. Is that date okay for these? So the elevations are different from the 3D rendering. Okay.
Yes, to my knowledge, that was the last revision date.
So it says here, to the extent there are any inconsistencies between the elevations and 3D renderings, the elevation shall control, with the exception of landscaping, which shall be as shown on the 3D renderings received June 18, 2024. Landscaping is to maintain in a healthy and vibrant condition. Exterior lighting shall not exceed 2700 Kelvin to comply with International Dark Sky Association standards. Approval relies upon a drainage study. No building permit for a structure larger will be issued unless there's another drainage study. No disturbance allowed beyond what's already shown on the plan. No building permit shall be issued until a town highway department curb cut permit's issued. No C of O will be issued until all improvements and landscaping is completed. No C of O shall be issued until the town highway department's curb cut permit has been closed. Outdoor fixtures and amenities. That's just sort of general conditions with regard to submission of Mylars, the time frame within which the approval is in effect, other outside agencies, et cetera, et cetera. Are there any other changes that need to be made to this resolution, other than the minor additions? All right, so with that, would someone like to make a motion to approve this resolution as amended?
So moved.
Would someone please second?
Second.
Noreen?
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Dylan Penn,
Aye.
Aye.
That, the motion carries and it's approved, and you'll satisfy the conditions, work with Sean, so that once everything's complete, I can sign the plans and you can get your building permit.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for the chair and for all the board members. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck with your house. Thank you, Dennis. Great, so next item on the agenda is Golden Delight Bakery, 31 Larkin Drive, Monroe, New York.
Good evening, everyone. John Queenan with Lincoln Tully for the applicant. We
Or
are,
want every semi-annually to come in for Golden Delight.
that's what it feels like. I think we'll be back in front of you
On a more regular basis?
on a more regular basis now.
All right, good.
That the applicant has essentially cleaned up the site. They've resolved their internal, I'll say, conflicts with their tenants. Some of the tenants were evicted, so I think we're on a clear path now to present to you what will be the final version of who will be there at this point in time and what we're doing with the building. So what I did provide to the board was basically a slightly updated site plan at this point in time, as well as a narrative of the different types of uses in the building, the breakdown of the square footages of the building, and where they are located. We did also reach out to Orange County Sewer District Number 1. The property is serviced by a septic system. As part of this application, we're going to be abandoning that. They're going to do a force main connection to the sewage collection system. So we were working with the property owners on the other side of Larkin Drive on Old Country Road to try to secure easements, which we have secured. So that will be further developed also as part of this site plan.
So can you just what are the uses at this point?
Sure. We have, I'll go through my narrative here. There are basically 7 uses in the building. So the main use, main tenant and owner is the Golden Delight Bakery. They take up a vast majority of the building, approximately 9,000 square feet of the existing 12,000 square foot building. Second largest user is a Y&Y Distributors. They're a furniture office. They distribute furniture. They utilize approximately 1,100 square feet of the building. And each of these are correlated by number with their location on the site plan map. Third use is a handyman office / warehouse use, Landau Handyman. He has a small office and he basically stores his tools and equipment in the building. He's got about 1,000 square feet, 1,100 square feet of the building. There is a warehouse for a sprinkler company, Rapid Sprinkler Solutions, basically store their materials for sprinkler systems in the building. They have about 960 square feet, and that square footage also includes a second floor balcony area within the building. User number 5 is Chesky's Plumbing. They use about 707 square feet. And that also, again, includes a second partial second floor. Use number 6 is an office, LG Works, very small, about 480 square feet, so just less than 500. And then separate from the building, there is a shed on the property, approximately 300 square feet, which is used for storing for J Channel Roofing and Siding Company. Uses that to store roof materials on the site. That is everybody in total at this point in time. We've had a lot of in and out, like I said, in the last few years, but the landscaper business is gone. He was really the cause of the big issue with the eviction. So all total, the floor area, including the second floors, is 13,385 square feet.
They cleaned up the site a bit.
They did. They took a majority of the sheds and structures that they had basically along the frontage of Larkin Drive. Those are all removed except for the one, which is on the site plan to be relocated. That's the number 7. That's the roofing guy storing his stuff there. So they're going to relocate that out of there. There's also another structure on the plan that plans on getting basically demolished out of there. All of the materials, like the red trucks in the back and all those materials, those are all gone now. That was the landscaper. So the only materials in the back corner there, I believe, are right now storage trailers for the bakery use. The rest of the materials have been removed.
So just to remind, well, will we have architectural? So I'm sure we would all like to have this building cleaned up.
Okay.
I don't know, I mean, this is probably an older, it says November 2021, so I don't know if there've been any changes to the facade.
No. That's about what it looks like.
Matching speed.
You might have been there for the fresh bread.
Oh, he was there for the bread, true.
Is Golden Delight merely a production facility, or is it retail space as well?
Production. They don't do a lot of, if anything, they don't do any real retail out of there. It's wholesale.
It's wholesale, okay.
So if they're doing production, are all those other uses allowed there from a health department perspective?
I would assume the bakery has his required permits. I mean, he's well known, so. Yeah, they're completely isolated from any other uses in the building. Yeah. I couldn't tell you for sure, but I know his bakery is basically, if you bring up the site plan, I can show you easier. He's the back rear of the building, so he's one. And the only way to get to his facility is through a common hallway between 2 and 6. And then you get into the back.
Where that like stone facade area is on
That's
the
correct.
side?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
he comes in this way and then he's got all of this?
That's all of him, yes.
But then you have this 2, 3, 4, 5
So 2, 3, 4, 5 all access from
from those
the
doors.
doors. And 6 has a small access out the side as well.
And these are all self-contained?
Yes. As for the common HVAC and stuff, I mean, I could check, but I don't know for sure.
Okay, Sean, any comments?
So, John updated the bulk table per previous comments. My only ask is that he add the net lot area calculation, so that we can, just double check the calculation. And then it appears that some additional pavement may be added to the site in order to accommodate some of the parking spots. So we'll have to evaluate lot coverage existing versus. Then I had 2 comments with regards to the parking calculation. I don't think it's going to drive any of the parking count up. We have to check that it, complies with the zoning.
Does it meet current parking count? ADA requirement, clear spaces? I mean, what is the count of the site plan?
Well, right now,
Currently?
With prior uses?
Well, with the uses that are there, I had 26 spaces required.
Okay.
And we're providing 26.
The 26 that are shown are existing or proposed?
It's a mix of both. I mean, they're kind of scattered, so what I was doing is
I think that's why you took down some of the sheds.
Well, yeah, that, and they're not allowed in the front yard, so. So what I did was, I basically chose areas where they're parking now, so it's kind of like a mix of gravel, so. And for instance, in the back there, it says, if you go north, it says proposed 9 spaces. That's all kind of gravel now, and so we would basically propose to make that official parking. That's where they're going.
As gravel or as paved?
I would like to keep it gravel, but if we have to pave it, we'll pave it. The same thing with as you go around on the east side, coming around to see 9 spaces, again, that's another gravel location, another gravel area.
I think it'd be helpful to identify existing pavement limits versus gravel limits versus grass.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mess over there.
Yeah, so
And
all of,
So if
that's all gone.
So all of this is gone, but there's like no spaces. It's just.
There's no defined spaces.
Yeah, but I think we want more than that at this point. I think we want this to operate a little cleaner. And even if it's putting rail ties, something, just to know that the spaces are there. Where
Either that or we can
because then
pave
they just park all over the place and it gets crazy again.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to approve a site plan that people are going to abide by.
Okay. But that's what the site plan does. It takes those areas and
Yeah.
basically officially designates them as park.
Right. And that works from everybody's perspective in terms of the uses?
Yeah, because they're kind of all the areas that they're using now.
Okay.
With regards to water, the plan notes the existing location of the service fed by the village of Curious Joel. The service does go beyond the property line, adjacent private property. So I asked that the easement for that be provided, and the applicants noted that they're working with the village in order to create an agreement for use of the water. So that'll have to be submitted.
Are you connected now to KJ Water?
Yes.
Okay, so how far does KJ Water go down?
I believe this is a transmission line coming across, and then it goes up Larkin and over.
Is it going to the village's recreation area?
No,
They have wells there, I think.
They have wells down here, yes. I think it connects into the system that is serving Old Country.
And Old Country tied into Village of KJ Water?
Yes. There's a town water district that was created for the village to serve water to those to the homeowners on Old Country because their wells went dry.
So is this a town one as well then?
No.
Is this in the town? No, you're
Well,
just
it's in the-
proposing,
It's in the town, but the
right, but
connection.
not, but not in that town water district? Okay.
So John mentioned that the applicant's looking to abandon the old septic system and connect to the sewer through adjacent lots across the street.
Is this Orange County Sewer District?
It is. My question is why you're going that route instead of to the exists in Larkin Drive adjacent to the site?
Yeah, the county indicated that it's not an active main this high up, so.
So the county, as part of Monroe Commons, said they're basically out of sewer capacity.
It's not entirely true, but
Isn't that, so I had a conversation with, I think it was Eric Danega, and when we were talking about traffic, after that discussion, it was, by the way, in terms of connecting to sewer,
know
we're
they're
at
close.
capacity. So I don't know if there's a moratorium or what they're doing.
there is no moratorium.
So we have the letter that users within the Mudna district cannot connect. But my understanding is that users within Orange County Sewer District Number 1 are entitled to service,
Unless there's capacity.
which I haven't seen any correspondence to that effect yet.
We should probably reach out to them and get some correspondence, just so we know. Are they part of, did we do lead agency for this?
No, not yet, because it's still not clear what type action it is, because we
Okay.
don't know what's existing that's been approved and what's, unapproved that they're seeking.
Okay.
Then we could determine how big the size of the unapproved uses that need approval.
Well, it's my understanding that there was no site plan on file for this location. And that's why what.
So is it
triggered-
essentially like you're building it new, even though it's already there?
Yes. Yeah.
This has been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Is this through a violation of the building department?
This through a violation of the building department because of the landscaper. It was essentially like a contractor's yard
Okay,
that was not allowed in the zone, and then that basically was a domino to, well, where's the site plan? We don't have a site plan, and
okay.
Was there a building, I'm just wondering if maybe it was something that was allowed by building permit at some point? Maybe if we could look for NCO and figure out what,
Yeah.
if anything, has
Yeah, I
prior
mean,
approval?
building's
you-
been there for a long time. I haven't done that research.
Okay.
I just kind of picked it up and said, okay, we'll get rid of the landscaper and we'll get a site plan.
I think, so to your point, all these various tenants have just kind of evolved, and what we don't know is specifically what's actually been issued C of Os. So,
So if the building is there, but say it was built without any permits or approvals when they were required, then under seeker, you would be considering this as if the building wasn't there, and you'd be looking at the analysis for the whole building. If the building was previously approved, maybe by building permit, in whole or in part, then you would just be looking at any increase or change.
so they could have, for example, had a C of O for the bakery, and then all the little
Or
miscellaneous.
for X square footage or something like
Yeah,
that.
have just evolved. So I think that needs to be done, because then we know, and that's the point, we're trying to figure out what we're actually approving. And to some extent, that's based on what Ben says is needed as part of this. Because you're satisfying, you're addressing a violation at the building department level, but really, we don't even know what's been approved for the site at all.
Yeah, and
Other, is it just the landscaper that was the issue and everything else has a C of O? We don't know.
My understanding was a domino effect, is once they had the landscaper there, then it was,
Okay.
we don't have really anything else. Whether they probably have COs, because I know they do inspections on the building, but an official site plan, I don't think was on file.
All right. So you'll do that research then?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
talk to Ben.
And then you'll be here in another 6 months?
Another month.
Hey. Glad to hear that.
Yes, I'll try to hit the highlights. The building height is noted as less than 50 feet. Is it greater than 30 feet? Which would trigger some fire code analysis.
Probably is greater than 30, yeah.
So, we'll look for that to be updated. The parking noted within the Orange and Rockland utility easements, those will have to, or any within the easement will have to be accepted by O&R. And then the only other one was the tree plan, just because I was unsure of how far the extent of the pavement would go, whether or not you'd need tree clearing in order to accommodate the.
Are you staying within the existing gravel footprint, or are you
Yeah,
going beyond it?
I don't see us having additional clearing or tree cutting necessary.
But I think somehow we need to know what the limits are, so that we make sure that it's not encroached upon.
Yeah, I mean, I can go locate the existing tree line. That's
Okay,
easy enough.
okay. Yeah, because then we'll know if they're getting cut again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ashley?
Sure, so we talked about seeker already. As far as GML review, it might be exempt under the agreement between the town and the county, but that depends on whether the intensity of use change does not significantly increase traffic demands on nearby state or county roadways, nor significantly increase the water or sewer demands from the prior use. So I think this kind of also turns on what the prior approved use was. I think that would be what you should be evaluating that under. And John might have mentioned this earlier, but the plan previously showed a storage container in the front yard. Has that already been removed?
All but one, yes. And it's
Okay,
proposed
so
on
if
the
it's,
plan to be removed.
I know it was proposed to be removed, but if it's still there, then it should be shown on the plan as proposed to be removed, unless you're going to be removing it before the plans are,
No, it says structure to be removed.
I must have missed that. The plan should delineate the setback boundaries. Also, it indicates a fence on an adjacent property will be removed. If that's going to be done as part of this application, you'll need a an owner's endorsement from that owner, SBL 2129. Any new or unimproved structures or modifications to the facade are subject to architectural review. You'll need to show any signs, lighting, anything like that as well. So you did submit the project narrative. I think previously it was requested that you provide information in the narrative about delivery trucks and/or any customers coming, going for any of the businesses. I think you said none of them are retail, but if you could just include in your narrative addressing any, delivery trucks and any, if there are any customers or anyone that would be visiting outside of employees. And I believe that is it.
Board members, any comments? Anything you want to ask about this application?
Ashley, you mentioned if there are any changes to the external or aesthetic nature of the building, we would have review, but because this would be considered a new site plan, does that mean we can still offer comment? Whether they make changes, proposed changes or not?
So actually, I think because it is the first proposed site plan, you may have authority. I'd have to check and see how that architectural review section reads. You could always make the suggested changes. The question, you can require them or not.
Gotcha.
Anybody else? Do you know, sort of just looking at the aerials, there's areas back in here on the aerial, although that might be off-site, areas back in here that just looks like it's been, churned up, some dumping back there.
Yeah.
Do you know what's been happening back in here?
I think it's a combination of the site and Orange and Rockland. They use that road pretty heavily for power line maintenance.
But I doubt Orange and Rockland would be dumping stuff back here.
There was quite a bit of brush and trees that were
Right.
downed.
Brush and trees, I could see. Just when I zoom out here a little bit, you could see how this looks like
Yeah, I can go up there and take a look.
fill or something, but then there's these white, I don't know what this is.
Actually, it might be the pole.
Is there a pole? No, these are,
I can go take a look.
yeah, I just like to know what's happening over here. Did they ever do an ESA over there? A site assessment, any audits? Nothing?
Not that I'm aware
Okay.
What was the violation of the landscaper?
of. He's not allowed in that zone.
Oh, okay.
The use wasn't allowed.
Yeah, and I guess at some point, probably would like to walk the site. So we would just maybe let you know when.
Yeah, I'll make sure that the gates are open.
Yeah, great. So at this point, are we ready to do anything, or no? I think we want a little more research. Okay, so we'll wait for you to get back with some research on what's
I'll discuss it with Ben.
actually allowed with,
Okay.
with Ben, and then you can get back to us.
Okay,
All right?
all right. I will be back next month.
All right. Are you here for the next item?
Yes.
So, next item on the agenda, 127 Seven Springs.
Evening again for the record. John Queen with Lincoln Tully for the applicant. We were last before you a few months ago with a proposed three-lot subdivision located at 127 Seven Springs Road. It's the two-family overlay district. We were proposing 3 lots, each with 2-family dwellings. We've had some, more in-depth conversations regarding access and driveways and locations and whatnot. And the last iteration, we needed to do a SWIP and a tree plan. Both of those items have been completed. The plans have been updated with grading and utilities for the board's consideration, and we're hoping tonight that we're in a position to review the plan for a negative declaration and hopefully move on for a public hearing.
Right.
So to touch on the SWIP, we provided comments to the applicant a few weeks ago. The applicant responded to those Friday and sent over the SWIP. Our reviewer actually today and is okay from the seeker perspective to adopt a negative with regards to the SWIP. I believe he does have some technical comments, but none that would prevent the board from acting on seeker. I had a comment on who was going to be responsible for the ownership and maintenance responsibilities of the drainage facility. I assume it would be one or a combination of the homeowners. We'll have to work that out as we proceed. We have the right-of-way dedication that will have to be forwarded to Ashley as that develops, that of the lots that are within the town's right-of-way for Seven Springs Road.
Just to clarify that, so that would actually go to the town attorney
Okay,
to approve that.
okay. So we'll prepare the descriptions with the map and then send them.
And I think typically they'll require a deed as well,
Okay.
in addition to the offer of dedication.
Looks like the applicants responded to all our previous comments on the sewer disposal systems, so the septics for each two-family. The applicant has provided a letter with regards to testing that was completed, which our office takes no exception to. I had with regards to the zoning requirement for the protection of woodland character and the preservation of 50% front yard setback. I asked the applicant to look into that as it progresses. And then we need a letter, John, certifying the design of the to comply with the special use permit requirement. But, as I said, the septic are adequate from our perspective. And then the architectural plan, I believe your comment or your response memo noted that you would be providing those for the board's review, but I didn't see those in the response. And
They might have been provided with the last month where we basically took ourselves off the agenda. So I'll double check, I'll get them over to you.
otherwise, I had no other comments.
Ashley?
So as far as seeker goes, I think the SWIP was definitely the one big thing you were waiting. I had started drafting a neg deck. I don't have that for the board this evening, but you would be able to schedule a public hearing and then adopt the neg deck before opening the public hearing at your next meeting. Few additional things. On sheet 4 for lots 1 and 2, it labels the front yard setback as rear setback. I think that was just an error that needs to be updated. We talked about the special use permit criteria for the two-family. Waiting for it to shut off. As Sean had noted, the elevations weren't submitted. I think you had submitted some previously, but you had indicated that the color palette would be provided in the future, so the colors will have to be submitted for the board's review. I have just one correction to one of the map note changes. It's just missing a word, and I'll email you that. So you have it, and then the tree plan, if you could show the total number of trees or, add up the total number to be removed, and then proposed replacement trees. And once submitted, the tree plan does have to be referred to the MCC, who will have 30 days to provide comments, and the board likely will want to refer it to Karen Arendt as well.
Just so I'm clear to make the referral to Karen, is there a proposed landscaping plan?
No, I didn't think one was necessary. I mean, it's pretty heavily wooded lot.
Just asking. Yep.
Yeah, no, we haven't done one yet.
I wasn't, you were going to offset the tree clearing with trees?
We could, there's not a lot of area to put them really back, but we can.
Just want to make sure I'm sending all the required plans.
No, not yet. I don't,
Oh, Constance. It's a very intense acronym.
and then if they're not going to be proposing to replace any of the trees on a one-to-one basis, then it'll be the tree fee in lieu of tree replacement.
Okay.
There are also provisions for proposing to replace trees on other properties within the town, so if you want to look at that, I think it has a reduced fee in lieu when you do that.
I did just want to touch on the one comment, Sean, you had about the woodland character of the frontage. How has the board been addressing that? Is it just, do I just calculate the area? And
Yeah,
say-
I was trying to put that ball in your court.
We did our best to try to save what we could, combine with the dedication and the drainage improvements. I'm kind of, I could put some trees back, but they'd have to be set back so that I can maintain sight distance. So if that's kind of the direction, then we'll get it on the plan. But we're close.
That's the law, the way it's written. I had this comment about the Owen Drive subdivision, and are these temporary or permanent?
Those are
permanent.
I look at these plans for a few houses, and the amount of the SWIPs eat up is just incredible.
Yes.
And is there not alternative designs to cut back on this?
No.
Because sometimes there is, but everybody wants to do a basin because it's cheap. You know what I mean?
No, you can't get away from this. This is fairly using all those little techniques, rooftop disconnect, swales. It just comes to the regulations for stormwater, and I'm going to get on a soapbox, are at this point quite ridiculous. And this is what you end up with. This is like low impact, because I still have to do quantity control, I have to do quality, and I have to do infiltration.
How many acres are we at?
Three-ish,
Even at 3,
anything over an acre.
isn't it over 5?
Over an acre, the 5 is triggered for single family because these are two-family.
Oh, it's a 2-family.
Yes. To meet all three, trust me, if we could do less, we would. And I'm sure Sean could probably tell you the same story.
Are there any alternatives, again, that take up less land or waivers that can be granted as part of a stormwater permit? Is there anything that you can think of? It's just such a waste.
They're using sand filters, which are really the smallest footprint that you can possibly do.
Sand filters? But you have to have sand filters?
No,
In other words, can you put it here or?
that's what we're doing. No, we
Oh,
create.
you're doing sand filters?
Yeah, we create the sand filter.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if you could only do it in a place where there's sand. That's
No.
what
We-
You're
No,
talking
you have to
about.
import it.
Okay.
The other balance is, there's a third component of it that only allows you, there's a third component of the stormwater, it's just called runoff reduction, RRV.
Yeah.
And that limits you to only 2 or 3 practices in reality. And it's infiltration, bioretention, or swales.
But like close up to the house, there's not something like a big cistern you could put in to hold the water? There's nothing that's.
I need separation from the well and separation from the septic.
At least this one is permanent. And I think for Owen Drive, or future applications that have similar issues, is it possible for a multi-structure build, temporary erosion and sediment control could be on the previous lot? If I'm going lot 1, 2, 3, I start on 1, then I go to 2, then I finish with 3, maybe a smaller system is needed. I don't know. I was going to look into it later.
Like the temporary moves
Yes,
down,
yeah.
so that you're not having to put the temporary right up front,
Yep.
so that's additional land.
Yes, specifically for Owen Drive, that sediment trap is for the roadway, the home construction.
There's gotta be like better shapes, better something that can, again, I don't know. I don't know, this is just, I'm like tired of seeing all this land taken out from, we need the stormwater, I get that, the regulations, I understand the drainage, but the amount of, in these kind of areas of disturbance that's occurring. So in this instance, you're introducing these facilities, are you gonna be able to put trees in them?
These facilities, yes, except
Okay.
for where your cursor is.
Okay,
Just that bed, that's a sand filter.
what about this bay?
That's a bioretention area.
Okay, so this bay is the only one.
Yeah, that can get, the bioretention area to the left can get planted where your cursor is. No, that has to stay grass.
All right, so you're gonna have wetland vegetation or trees will still go back in here?
Yeah, we could plant throughout there, sure. Sure, and none of these basins retain water. They don't hold water for any extended period of time.
We should talk to Karen about, so you'll do a landscape plan for these, but we should have Karen look at it.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, we'll do a landscape plan.
That'll help
And
you with
still
the
are
tree
private.
requirement.
Private homes, so we are still just kind of blending them in. And they're not as bad, they look worse than what they are. So like the basin to your, right where your cursor was, and that's really only 4-foot depression. It's not a huge hole. Same thing with the other sand filter, again, is only a 4-foot, they're small facilities.
Yeah, but what you're not seeing here is these are just the larger diameter trees. This whole area is wooded, I assume.
Yeah, the whole lot's wood, yeah.
Yeah, so you're taking out a lot of it, you're taking out a lot of area that's wooded. So it is as bad as it looks, because, yeah, and then you can put the vegetation in. This is just highlighting the large diameter trees, not
Correct.
all the trees.
Oh, yeah, the whole lot's wooded, sure.
Yeah, so it's gonna be, a lot of it's gonna be denuded. And
We should work
that's,
together and write letters to the state.
I'll be happy to. No, I think there has to be better, more creative ways of putting in these structures that are more naturalistic. And so that's my whole
There's-
comment.
There isn't to meet the requirements.
Are you using a dry swale for?
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah, we're doing rooftop disconnects from the roof leaders that go to the two dry swells. So those are the lines with the black check marks. Those are, vegetated dry swales that then go to the treatment. It's all,
So that's again, another area where, here's the drive, right? But now you're gonna be clearing all this out to put swales in, right?
yeah, but I need the swales both to capture the drive and the runoff, and it's also being treatment. And it's protecting the septics, like, it all flows.
Why do
to
we have
one.
to have two as opposed to one?
Because I'm getting disconnect credit for the lot, south, and I'm getting disconnect credit for the lot to the north.
So they can't just have one?
No, because I need that volume to get the credit. Otherwise, I'd have to put double the length of swale if they both were to be combined, and I don't have the room for that.
I'm gonna ask Sean to look at this and figure out creative ways to reduce disturbance.
If he signs on the
And
slip
you
with
too.
me, this is it. Trust me.
Honesty, it does look like, from my perspective, minimal impact for the stormwater. Those, they're pretty small.
What is the scale?
What sheet is this? Should be in the corner. Grading utility, should be 30 scale.
30 scale? So if we're just talking about essentially this area, right? Roughly, is all for stormwater management, right?
Yep.
Going up here, over here, here, you're grading all this out, here, 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 here. all this, right?
No, that's just general grading.
Well, but you're conveying it to the stormwater, right? Or no?
It's a culvert pipe to the,
It's a culvert for the driveway.
All right, I subtract a little out there. And you said 1 to 30?
yeah.
That's over an acre of disturbance for stormwater.
Welcome to New York.
Of the 3 or so acres of disturbance, so 1/3 is for the stormwater basin.
Yes.
I think that's an issue.
And it doesn't seem like John disagrees. So,
No, I mean, there has to be a better way.
Well, there is, and it's not rigid. So I mentioned LEED during our last meeting, and one of the sections of LEED certification within version 4.1 is protect or restore the habitat, and two points. So ultimately, an accumulation of points is restoration of disturbed area. And ultimately, depending upon what percentage of restoration of disturbed area, or even reduction of disturbed area, you gain points to obtaining a certain LEED certification. So there's initiatives that they're trying to drive to reduce what you're doing, and I think some of the engineering practices and site plan developments are following, but it's not rigid. It's not. It's applicants that want to go above and beyond and obtain that certification, not minimum requirement.
I mean, honestly, in looking at this, that one house is pushed all the way to the back. And you put the drainage, you put that between.
Yeah, because I can't put the house down in the gully.
Good.
Time and money.
No, I mean, you could.
Time and money.
I mean, we just looked at 20 Owen that's doing all this
It's a
grading.
natural low point. Why would I put the house in the,
Well, is there a wetland down there?
is there what?
Wetland?
No, but it's just the natural low point of the property.
Yeah.
Why would I put the house there?
No, but you're not right at the gully, but not so far back.
Well, it's back so that I can get the septic to be gravity instead of a pump. Like it all interconnects in some way. But to be quite honest with you, I'm telling you, this is one of the lower development stormwater plans.
And-
I mean, the book has all sorts of crazy things in it. And no one's going to do them. They're not going to put green roofs on these houses. They're not going to, take natural conservation areas because they can't take credit for them because it's considered a land development. It's not developed already, and I'm going to take this parking lot and make it trees. So you're limited to what you can really do on new development.
I'm going to have to read the stormwater manual again.
You can read it, but at the end of the day, I got the 3 criteria I have to meet: quality, quantity, and infiltration. And
Right.
the stormwater law is written for Long Island because things infiltrate very rapidly. They don't work in the mountains, and that's the problem. And to get a waiver, if the town wants,
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
the town
At some
wants
point,
to sign off on an MS4, that you have to sign off on it too, and you want to support
No.
a waiver?
no, I'm wondering at what point, depending on the amount of disturbance, is it reasonable to waive a requirement? Now, we're not the stormwater management officer.
Well,
The planning board isn't. I mean, we approve,
You-
right?
you
The
approve.
stormwater, we approve seeker, et cetera, but we're not
correct, so.
That's
what-
Ben,
what
I
you
think.
approve, Sean then takes and has to get the MS4 acceptance form
Yeah,
signed off on.
right.
And it has to be justification.
Right.
I can't go to the state and say, oh, we're doing these waivers because we don't like the amount of area it was taking up.
Because the planning board chairwoman doesn't want that
Correct,
disturbance.
they want to approve it.
Well, what could you get a waiver for? Have you ever gotten waivers so in order to reduce some of this?
No, not on new development.
What if there were?
Retrofits and redevelopments, yes, but not new.
All right, well, I'm going to study this for the next meeting.
I was actually thinking of going the opposite direction, is instead of waivers, impose certain restrictions to prevent what is required, because I think that's a little bit more in our purview.
You can't.
Since
to be
we're
quite honest,
stormwater
having a frank
officers.
conversation. You can't do that. You really can't do that. I mean, this development or any developer is abiding by the regulations to provide a plan. We can tweak it, but essentially,
No,
It's my design.
I'm curious what the waivers are. That's what I'm curious.
There
To
is no
what
speci-
extent can you waive
There's no
anything?
specific waiver, so it's, are you meeting water quality volume? You're gonna put no. Why? Because I don't wanna disturb an extra half an acre of land when I could.
So in this instance,
There's no
the
mitigating
SWIP,
reason.
the SWIP goes to the stormwater management officer who's responsible for signing off on this. But you still have to send it to DEC, correct?
No.
No, it doesn't go to DEC? Not where you have
The-
your stormwater management
Our
officer?
office signs off on the SWIP, and it meets all the requirements, and then the stormwater management officer, the supervisor, signs the MS4 acceptance, which then goes to the applicant. They file that with their NOI to get coverage.
Is Ben or who's the?
I have the supervisor sign the MS4 acceptances. I
Okay.
don't know if they're actually an appointed MS4 officer.
Okay,
The state does not look at these. They've made MS4s and they pass the buck.
yeah, so they don't look at it.
Correct. No.
I think that this is a good training session.
I think Owen is.
Hmm?
Owen Drive.
I think Owen Drive is perfect.
No. No, but I'm looking at Sean, SWIPs, and going through the stormwater regulations. That would be a good hour training session.
Sure, no problem.
And we'll use your,
That's fine, I'll sit in the back.
actually, we'll use the both. We'll use Owen and we'll use yours, so that,
But I do have a question. From a quantitative issue, if I understand from back when we were doing DG, and you have to do a SWIP, basically you have to be able to show that that it's a better situation after the improvements from the SWIP
Correct.
than what exists currently.
Correct.
For peak flows.
Peak flow.
For peak, right.
Yeah, so that's the quantity
Peak
side.
flows.
it's no.
But the volumes are regardless going to be increased.
Yeah, volumes are always increased. It's the flow.
It's the peak flow rate. So
It's a discharge.
if you had a stream pre-development and it ran after, say it rained, it'll run for 8 hours, right? Just pick it.
Right.
After development, it won't have any greater rate, but it might run for 10 hours.
Right.
There's more volume.
But does that change with alternate surfaces or impervious surfaces versus drainage rock or anything else? Does that adjust your quantity calculation or your values?
Quantity calculations wrapped up into impervious surfaces and then change in cover type. So for instance, like wooded areas go
Yeah.
from wooded to grass, that'll be an increase also.
Gotcha.
It's just
Increase in
not
runoff,
blacktop.
yeah.
But the
And then it
state,
has to
just
do-
so you know, the state considers gravel impervious.
Really?
Yes,
Oh, because of the compaction rate.
correct. I don't, but they do.
But I can understand that. At some point, it probably does get compacted.
I've seen a gravel drive versus a paved drive. Paved drive, yeah, sheets off and you get concentrated full. Gravel drive, not so much. But they equate them equal. And so that's why, again, nobody does the gravel because it's maintenance, it's constant maintenance, it's money. So you'd pave it if they're equal.
So where are we on this?
So as far as action items for tonight, the first thing would be to assume lead agency status. You had circulated the lead agency notice, I think it was back in April.
So I'll make a motion that we designate ourselves lead agency. May I have a second? That was Lou. No, yeah? Okay. Aye.
Aye.
Dylan Penn,
Aye.
Lou Rivera, Bob Garstack.
Aye.
Okay, then we have to submit this to MCC, right?
Yes, you should
Okay.
refer the tree plan, and the landscaping plan is submitted as well.
So Noreen, let's get the tree plan. MCC and then CC me on that email, please. Landscaping plan we don't have yet.
He picks up hard copies.
Okay. Yeah, just let me, I just want to know when you send it to him.
Do you need another one? Do you need another hard copy?
No, because I had someone else drop off, so I have an extra hard copy. So we'll get to change the number again.
And then if the board wanted to schedule a public hearing for your next meeting, now that the SWIP issue sounds like resolved from a technical standpoint, you'd be able to adopt a neg deck before opening the public hearing.
Well, I don't know that the SWIP has been resolved, but I don't think it's going to be a significant adverse impact.
No,
So
we-
I'm okay with,
Agreed.
opening it because it's more details than it is. This
It's
isn't gonna be a
technical.
massive, it's not gonna be a
Yeah, no,
massive
it
issue.
meets, what's on that paper meets all the requirements, so if we have to tweak here and there, we're still gonna meet them.
Yeah, so I'm not concerned about that from the neg deck perspective. So then, I would make a motion that we hold a public hearing at our, which meeting?
July 16th?
At our July 16th, 2024 Planning Board meeting, and that we also, at 6:30 PM or soon thereafter, and that we also have our attorney draft the negative declaration for this action. May I have a second?
Second.
Ooh, that was close. I'll give it to Bob. Let's give it to Bob.
Let's give it to Bob.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye?
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Dylan Penn,
Aye.
Lou Rivera,
Aye.
Robert Garstock.
Aye.
Carries. Anything else that we need to address for this evening? No? All right. So hopefully next week we'll do a neg deck. Next week, next month. Next month we'll do the neg deck, and then,
Do we need to circulate 239? Something had come in from the county on this last month, but they put like determination not at this time.
I had seen that, but it is exempt under the agreement with
Okay.
the town because it's under 5, it's a subdivision
Plus, we
less
already-
than 5.
I don't think they'd come up with any more comments that were in that letter, so.
so is
I mean-
this reflecting the up-to-date applicant name, Golden Stone Consulting LLC,
Yes,
and owners?
yes.
Okay. So this was for the notice of intent. It wasn't necessarily, it's not a GML.
No, but they did say on there that they would respond when they received a full statement, but unless they're reading that exemption under the intermunicipal agreement as not applicable because it's 2-family homes, but it just says subdivision of lots.
Why don't we clarify that? Make sure that we don't have to refer it. And I'll make a motion that we refer it in the event we have to.
Refer it even if it's not mandatory, just for, an abundance of
Yeah.
caution.
Caution?
Yeah, I mean, the letter already says that they don't think there's any countywide impact. It says it, so if you want to refer it again, just.
No, I don't want to, that was just for seeker, but I don't necessarily want to refer it again for a GML if it's not subject to GML. We just need to make sure of that. But if it is, then it has to go to them.
Yeah,
So,
like I said, I don't expect anything different
yeah.
from that. So.
So I'll make a motion that in the event this application is subject to GML review, that we refer it to Orange County Department of Planning. Do we have any referrals to KJ or to Palm Tree?
Yes, that'll be when the public hearing notice will need to be sent to them 10 days prior, so
That'll just be a matter of fact, or do we need to resolve?
it's something that I would just have Noreen do when she finalizes the notice.
Okay, so then I'll keep my motion as I stated. May I have a second?
Second. Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Dylan Penn,
Aye.
Bob
Aye.
Okay, so that's just in case
Okay,
we have to, but if we don't, then we don't.
very good. Thank you so much.
All right, anything else? Ashley, anything else we need to accomplish this evening, or that's good? Or that's what we can?
Just a new microphone, please.
I know. We're gonna work on that. I'm gonna talk to the head honcho, whoever that is. All right. I am going to, we didn't get the new minutes, right?
No, they're done, I just didn't send them, I apologize, I thought I did.
All right, so let's hold off on the March Anything else? Anything we need to take care of tonight? Anything else? No?
Give me some ideas of when you want to go see
Yeah, we'll email those.
Vince again.
Sean and Ashley, anything we need to be aware of? Nothing?
What municipalities are within the 500-foot radius?
Oh, okay. All right, I will make a motion that we adjourn this meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.